Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second season of the Planette. Okay, now here's the thing. I always tell people, if you have not seen season 1, you might want to go and look at that first. Okay, it's 16 episodes to that, and it's 14 episodes to season 2. However, here's the thing. The last episode of season 1 segues into season 2. So if you hadn't seen that last episode or what led up to where we are now, you might want to go and check it out. But anyway, okay. So it's chaos going on planet Earth because they are experiencing COVID. And Andeat, one of the characters, knows what she's doing as far as being able to cure it. But somebody down there is so greedy and they want to, capture her so that whatever. Anyway, go look at it, okay? And I'm glad all the people that saw and watched season 1, thank you for hanging in there out in space with me. Every time I get on here, I'm going to have on a red shirt. I'm going to tell y'all why. Y'all know why? Because each and every introduction that I'm doing it all in the same day. So when I do episode 2, you're going to see me with a red shirt on. Episode 3, you're going to see me with a red shirt on. Because, see, I don't got time to be, changing clothes and coming back after every episode. Because all of them have been recorded and all of them have been, like the photos in the record. And the difference between season 1 and season 2 is that in season 1 you saw most of the atmosphere where they live. In season 2 it's not like that. You're going to see more images of people that I use from AI. Okay, so go ahead, and you won't see me on the other side like you used to. Okay, but you'll see me in the next episode. All right. Watch this. Introduction to the planet Creole, where women work, where women rest, where girls learn, where there are no men from Earth who will survive, where battles are fought, the planet Creole. Scene 1. It was March 31st, 2020. Andeat and a team of defenders boarded Shuttle 2019 along with Dr. Fatima and Danielle Reed. Their destination, Washington, D.C., to see if Andeat would be able to cure Danielle's elderly father. Ruby and Jackie decided to stay behind once Fatima convinced them that they would be okay. "Oh, be safe, you girls," Ruby said, hugging each one of them. "And keep me posted as to what's going on and make sure you have enough protection." "We have over 300 masks. In fact, 362 of them," Andeat said. Ruby waved as the shuttle took off. She turned to Jackie and said, "I hope to God nothing happens to them. Earth is such a chaotic state right now." "Trust your team, Ruby. They won't allow anything to happen to Andeat." Jackie did not have to guess why Ruby was so concerned about Andeat. She didn't understand the nature of Earth humans like the rest would. I know, Jackie. I've grown so attached to Andeat. She's like my own daughter or something. Ruby never had any children. She had always wanted at least two, but that never happened. She had discovered the Planette in her late 30s, and now she was 93 years old. Her appearance and health were like that of a woman in her 40s. Jackie was a decade younger than Ruby, and the same was true with her with regards to appearance and health. I know, Ruby. You can't help but to love Andeat. She's so adorable. Remember when I was jealous of your relationship when she first came about? Do I? It was like you both were my children. Yeah, I know. We've been building this planet for so long. I thought that little chick was going to end up taking my place or doing something nefarious. You know, that little Andeat seems to be a little mischievous, though. Her taking your place would never happen, Jackie. You were the only person who believed I wasn't crazy when I told you I landed here. They pulled in front of Ruby's two-story house. She had 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. Shelling tea! Jackie boasted as soon as they walked in the door. The Planette grew only healthy, nutritious plants, and everything that grew out of the ground could be consumed. There was no pollution. Electricity was powered up by natural resources. In fact, there was no currency on the Planette. Everyone contributed using their skills and talents. There were people who tailored clothing, made ceramics, built furniture, architectural companies, engineers, IT, scientists, and doctors. But there were no police. However, those who trained in combat did so only to protect the planet from outside forces. Security was used to surveillance the universe and the planet itself to alert or warn of danger. Ruby checked her watch, noting that the crew would land on Earth in 2 more days. Ruby, relax, Jackie said, joining her in the sitting room and handing her a cup of tea. I know, I'm trying to. Soft music played in the background as they discussed what was happening on Earth. My father told me about the Spanish flu that occurred 10 years before I was born and how it had wiped out over 50 million people. He was a young man in his 20s back then. Yeah, I remember my older relatives talking about it too. But you think the coronavirus will kill that many? I sure hope not. We still have family down there. Who knows, Jackie? My biggest concern is our crew. Yeah, so after Washington, D.C., where are they going? They will be headed to Greece. I told them to stay out of Asia. They have completely locked down, and if they are caught there, they could possibly be locked up. Well, Ruby, the proxy bracelets are pretty quick. We upgraded the feature reactor for quicker movement. I know. I just don't want to take any chances. Anything can malfunction. Well, that is true. Scene 2. Shuttle 2019 landed in a remote area of Fauquier County, Virginia, surrounded by a set of trees, the area where Kim had instructed them to land, where they would not be noticed by anyone. The doors opened, and Andeat, Fatima, Danielle Reed, and the 3 of the defenders stepped off. Kim pulled up. the 18-passenger van onto the road that would lead her to the shuttle location of 2019 and made the short trek through the woods. That was the same van she used to transport women in distress. "Hey, Kim," Dr. Fatima said. "Are you girls ready?" Kim asked, but she was surprised when the pilot and co-pilot and two of the defenders decided to stay behind. "We cannot leave the shuttle behind. We have plenty of food and water and a couple of bathrooms," the pilot explained. "Okay, well, keep us posted, and we'll check in every 2 hours to make sure everything is good down here, okay?" Kim said. 7 women headed to the van, and Danielle got on the phone to check the status of her father. She let them know that he was not improving and they should get to Georgetown Hospital as soon as possible. "Okay, Danielle, I'm trying, all right? But you need to chill. We're way down here in Warrenton, Virginia. We're not exactly in D.C. right now, okay?" Kim never liked Danielle's pushiness anyway. They pulled in front of the hospital and headed to the front desk. Everyone was wearing facial protection gear and latex gloves. The nurse at the front desk told them that no visitors were allowed in the rooms. Andeat phased out. When she phased back in, she was in Mr. Reed's room. He was in horrible shape. A ventilator helped his breathing, and she could tell his lungs were in distress. She placed her small hand onto the man's chest. Before leaving the Planette, she had taken many doses of serum from the Welliff tree, which aided in attacking deadly viruses. She watched the older man. Soon, his breathing stabilized. 20 minutes after her arrival, his eyes opened and he looked at her. He wondered who this young girl was in his room. Although Andeat was hundreds of years old, she looked to be in her early teens. Who are you?" "My name is Andeat. I came to save your life." What? The man did not remember anything except being rushed to the hospital one night. He felt 100% better, in fact, better than he had before he fell ill. Two nurses entered the room. They had been monitoring his breathing. They knew he was the father of Congressman Reed. When they discovered his health had improved in such a short time, they had to find out why. One minute, his lungs were in such distress, they did not expect him to get any better. The next, things had stabilized. "Child, what are you doing in here? You are not supposed to be in a patient's room," one of the nurses said. That's okay. She saved my life, nurse." The nurses looked at Andeat oddly. "Mr. Reed can return home to his residence in Alabama now," Andeat said. When Mr. Reed fell ill, he had been visiting Washington, D.C., hanging out with his son. "How do you know where I'm from, young lady?" the patient asked. The nurse, noticing Andeat's robotic voice, was prompted to ask, "And where are you from?" "I am from the planet Krell." "Krell? What is that?" "Yes, I am from Krell." "Krell?" The nurse was totally confused, and then Andeat explained, "Yes, may I repeat myself? I am from Krell, and my name is Andeat." "Okay, Andeat, enough of the games. You will have to leave the hospital."
Wait!
Mr. Reed said. The nurses were ushering Andeat out of the room.
I want to tell Andeat thank you.
You are welcome, sir. Please take care of your life. The nurses led her to the hallway and watched her get onto the elevator. When she stepped on, two men were already in the elevator. They pressed a button for the basement, and once the doors opened, they grabbed her and led her down a long corridor leading to an exit. Who are you, and where are we going? Andeat asked.
We just have some questions to ask you.
What sort of questions do you need to ask me? Instead of answering, they led her to a Benz with tinted windows, shoved her inside, and sped off. Scene 3. Danielle's phone rang. She hurried to pick it up, and then Dr. Fatima only heard her say, "Oh, you did? Well, that's great." All of them were in the parking lot of the van, waiting for Andeat to return. Something prompted Kim to say, "Where is she at? I know it couldn't take that long for her to fix this guy. And who were you talking to, Danielle?" Kim knew this man was Danielle's father, and she figured the woman had gotten an update about his status. "Oh, that was my brother. Did he say anything about your father?" Dr. Fatima asked. Andeat was their only link to what happened in that hospital room, and she had not returned yet. "Well, no, he hasn't said anything yet." Kim and one of the defenders exchanged glances. Something about Danielle's behavior since that phone call was throwing her off. They waited for nearly an hour before Kim and Dr. Fatima decided to get out of the van and go back into the hospital. She is about 4 feet and she looks like she's 12. She was wearing a blue top and a pair of jeans. Have you seen her? Fatima explained as she described Andeat. "No, I never saw her come through here, ma'am." The woman at the front desk said, "Are you sure? Because we know she came in here." Kim insisted, "Ma'am, nobody has been allowed to enter the hospital, and I cannot let you through." They headed back outside, but they did not give up. They phased themselves into Mr. Reed's room. He was lying in bed, but he did not look sick.
Who are you ladies?
He asked. "We are friends of a friend who came to help you, sir."
Oh! Andeat, she already left.
Well, do you know where she went? You have an idea?
Can't say that I do. The nurses escorted her out. I appreciate what she did for me. Better than any doctor can do.
I appreciate that, sir, and thank you. They then turned to leave.
Hey, where are you from?
We can talk about that another time, but have you told anyone you've been cured? Fatima asked.
Yes, I've told my son and he's on his way to get me right now.
I see. Kim said. She nudged Dr. Fatima, letting her know it was time to go. They had to find Andeat, and they couldn't locate her on her devices. That meant she was either underground or in a location that could not pick up her signal. Or the worst case, someone had removed and destroyed her proxy bracelet. Once they were in the hallway near the stairs, Kim looked at Fatima and said, "You know what? I'm suspicious of Danielle. She said she did not know the status of her father, but I would bet she was talking to her brother." "Oh, I would too. I would bet that too." They headed back to the van and got in. So, any word? One of the defenders asked. They noticed Danielle did not seem to be alarmed by Andeat's disappearance. Kim started the van as she answered, "No, but we'll find her." Kim, wait a minute. Don't you think we should wait here? Fatima, what difference would it make anyway? Scene 4.
I ask you again, where are you from?
The taller man asked. Andeat was in a room without any windows, surrounded by concrete. I answer again, I am from Krell.
How did you get here?
I will not disclose my method of travel, but I traveled here to help Mr. Reed at his daughter Danielle Reed's request.
Can you help other people?
Andeat stared at the man who asked her that.
Well, answer him. Can you?
That would depend.
On what?
I would have to replenish using willow tree leaf.
What is willow tree leaf?
A potent life-saving tree on the planet Krell. The men looked at each other and laughed. Then they excused themselves and stepped into the hallway. Andeat did not know where she was because they had blindfolded her on the way over. She tried using her proxy bracelet, but the signal was weak.
Listen, Calvin, this chick is crazy. She sounds even crazier.
No, you're not backing out of this. You know how much money we can make from the cure of the coronavirus?
Oh no, I don't know. This seems like some sort of scam. The only reason I believe she's from outer space is because she sounds like it.
Well, we'll see now, won't we?
Andeat could still hear them, no matter how much they tried to whisper and lower their voices. Then they returned to the room. Where are you taking me now? To cure more people?
We haven't decided that yet.
You are trying to figure out how you can use me to grow your wealth. That sort of greed will subsequent a short run with wealth because it is dishonest. The men glanced at each other. Andeat could tell they were not only perplexed, but afraid of her. Scene 5. Still no word on where Andeat is? Jackie asked once she returned to visit Ruby the next day. No. And now you see why I was so worried. She'll get out of whatever it is that's going on. But Jackie, they still cannot ping her location. That's what worries me. Ruby, this girl has fought brooches on Dark Planet for decades. She's not weak. You're seeing her as a little helpless kid right now. Those looks of hers can be deceiving. And I have a sneaking suspicion that is what she's doing. Doing? Doing what? What is she doing, Jackie? Listen, you need to calm down, Ruby. What she's doing is using that innocent look to her advantage. That made Ruby feel a little better. The brooches she had fought on Dark Planet had been ferocious, wolf-like creatures. How Andeat survived that was beyond Ruby's comprehension. Stood the reason she was not even from the same solar system as Andeat, let alone world. But one thing she did understand was that Andeat was a creature that was not to be toyed with. Ruby had not even seen a fraction of her capabilities. Okay, Ruby, why don't I fix you some berry cakes? That should make you feel good. No, you will not. Jackie laughed, knowing the reason was because she would only eat Andeat's berry cake. Okay, I give up. How about we head over to Leda's for a nice breakfast? That's better. Much better. Now let me get dressed. Scene 6. Kim barely slept. After waiting for 3 hours, they headed back to her house in Northwest D.C. All of the restaurants were closed. Grocery stores would only allow so many people inside at a time. All of the women ate vegetables, but Danielle wanted a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit does not sound healthy, Danielle. Dr. Fatima said she wasn't hungry and she wouldn't have an appetite until they located Andeat. Are you kidding, Fatima? Every time I visit Earth, I have one of those. Kim was tired of not addressing what needed to be addressed, so she said, Danielle, do you have something to do with Andeat missing? Me? Goodness, no. Why would you say that? Kim never trusted Danielle. She did not care how awesome of an architect she was. Danielle often stirred up drama and contention up there on that planet because she had gotten reports about her. I am saying that because she went to cure your father, Danielle. That's why. I still don't understand why you would make such an accusation. But who else did you tell they were coming? Who else did you tell they were coming? I am insulted by your claims, Kim. I am really insulted by the claim that you actually think that I said who else, heifer. I don't know why in the world you would think. Who else? Kim stood once she said it louder this time. One of the defenders stepped up and between them. Okay. Listen, y'all need to calm down. I'm sure we can have a civilized conversation. Not until this lying wench tell me what she's up to. If you don't tell us, you will be left here when we travel back, and I'm taking that proxy bracelet off your arm. I am not up to anything. Danielle turned away from Kim and towards the window. Kim hated that. Oh, yes, you are up to something, you little heifer. Kim walked over to her, reached into her bag, and grabbed her stun gun. Okay. I will tell you. All right, well, you better start talking. Who else did you tell that they were on their way here? I only told my brother. Why would you do that when you were ordered not to? Okay, wait a minute. What's your name, Danielle? You need to take us to where they're holding Andeat, because I know you have to know. The defender stepped up and said once again. Scene 7. Andeat felt herself getting a little weak. She was not used to the environment on Earth, let alone being locked in that room. She needed the replenishment of the environment of her own solar system in order to gain strength, and she was slowly realizing that. The men returned early in the morning, offering her breakfast from McDonald's. What is this, McDonald's?
It's food. Aren't you hungry?
No, I am not hungry. However, I am weak.
That's why you need to eat.
She simply stared at Frank, Calvin's partner. They had been making all kinds of plans on how they would become wealthy off of her. They were not planning on letting her go, and she realized that. Do you have any shelling leaf? What is that? Calvin wanted to make sure he kept her alive. If they let her die, they wouldn't get rich. It is a vegetable we grow on our planet.
Well, I've never heard of that. We don't have that. What about lettuce?
Maybe lettuce would be a good substitute. The last time Andeat had visited Earth, she had eaten lettuce, and it had enriched her. Frank went out and got her a salad, and she ate the lettuce. She had not planned on being on Earth that long, and curing Danielle's father had taken away a lot of her energy. She had replenishers, but they were in the shuttle.
She grabbed more lettuce and continued eating as if she hadn't had a meal in years. Frank smiled at her and said,
You like lettuce, huh?
She grabbed another handful without answering and stuffed it into her mouth until all of it was gone. She did not eat any of the tomatoes and cucumbers, just the lettuce. They were perplexed by her interest in the leaf itself. Calvin's phone went off. Frank and Andeat heard him say, What? What do you mean?
Is that Danielle?
Andeat asked, and Calvin wondered how she knew. He continued talking to Danielle, and when he hung up, he looked at the other guy and said,
We need to move her to another location. They forced her to tell them where we are.
The men began scrambling out of there. One of them grabbed her, and she trained her eye laser on him, which made him let her go. He cursed when he felt the burning sting.
Oh, goodness, Casey, what did you do? What did you do, girl?
She broke away from them and started running towards the exit. She ran into the stairwell and kept descending. They were right behind her. She made it to the ground floor, all the way from the 12th floor. The men were not as fast. She heard one of them say,
What is she? Some kind of superpower kid or something?
When she burst out the exit door, she was outside at the rear of the building. She ran into the middle of the parking lot and stood there, waiting for them to exit. When they did, there she was, standing nearly 30 yards away from them.
Get her! There she is right there!
Calvin ordered Frank. Frank ran in her direction, but she did not run. She stood there staring at him. Then she used her proxy bracelet to phase out. They watched her disappear before their eyes, and they could not believe it.
Where did she go? Where did she go? Your guess is just as good as mine.
A van suddenly sped into the parking lot and came to a jerking stop. Out stepped three defenders, Kim and Dr. Fatima. Where's she at? Kim demanded.
Where's who?
Calvin said. Then he saw his sister behind them. Calvin, it wasn't my fault. They made me
Shut
do
up.
all else.
Shut up. Just shut up. You can't get anything right.
Where is she? One of the defenders demanded.
We don't know. She disappeared. She was standing right there where you just parked. We don't know where she's at.
Frank said. The women looked around each other and smirked.
I swear, we're not putting you on. She vanished. We don't know what kind of kid this is, but y'all just...
The man let out a frustrated sigh. Andeat had frustrated them. They knew their little friend had been able to use her proxy bracelet because one of the defenders was picking up her signal at Shuttle 2019, and she showed it to Dr. Fatima. Dr. Fatima then said, Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God.
Thank God what?
Calvin asked. Thank God is not your concern. But this is your most fortunate day. The group began walking away until Frank said,
Hold it.
When they turned around, he was holding a gun. Law enforcement showed up shortly after, and the defenders knew they were not leaving without a fight. Get in the van! One of the defenders ordered the girls before the battle between them and the police started. Bullets flew in all directions, but the defenders were not on a mission to kill the police, but disable them to the point where they would be able to get away. The defenders dodged bullets. Monica, behind you! One of the defenders warned. Monica used her disabler taking down the cop so he would not be able to move. One of the defenders noticed Frank and Calvin trying to run from the scene, but she got them, taking them down. Once they were done, they hopped into Kim's van and she sped off. Scene 8. Nobody was able to breathe a sigh of relief until her vehicle was purring down I-66 towards Virginia. They got a call from Ruby. Fatima picked up. Hey, Ruby. Yeah, Andeat made it back to the shuttle 2019. We just spoke to the pilot over there. She's finally safe, but we need to figure out what to do with Danielle. They had subdued Danielle in the back of the van. She insisted on returning to the Planette, claiming her family would disown and kill her for betraying them. She claimed her brother was a very powerful man and she would never be safe back on Earth. After all, he was a congressman. Well, you can bring her back. We'll have a trial by 13 jurors. Okay, Ruby, that's fine. The car continued towards Fauquier County, Virginia, and finally Kim stopped the van and they headed back to the shuttle. Andeat was there with the pilots and 2 other defenders. Kim, are you sure you don't want to go with us? There is so much chaos going on down here on Earth. Doc, I'll be fine. And besides that, if I need to go up to Crail, I do have a proxy bracelet. Kim said before she stepped into the shuttle and hugged Andeat. You take care, you little warrior. They led Danielle to the back of the shuttle in handcuffs. Kim looked at her and said, you are shameful. If it was left up to me, you would stay down here and I would let your family have their way. Well, I'm sure you would, Kim. You're not above a whole lot of things. Instead of Kim answering, she slapped Danielle. The other woman's face turned red immediately. Yo, take the cuffs off this heifer. Kim ordered one of the defenders. Defender laughed and said, now, Kimmy, you know that's not how we handle stuff. Finally, the doors closed and the shuttle took off, headed back for the Planette. 1875 at 1680 for Crown, and we are lifting. Scene 9. Ruby, Jackie, Shamira, and a few officers were at the airfield when the shuttle returned. Ruby hugged everyone, happy to see them. Finally, one of the defenders exited with Danielle in cuffs. Danielle, I would say that I am very disappointed in you. Well, you shouldn't be, Ruby, Dr. Fatima said, but Ruby did not respond to her. I did what I had to do for my family. I had no choice. At the risk of others? And did at that. I knew you would say that, Ruby. Officer, take the cuffs off of her. The officer removed the cuffs. I will see you at trial, Danielle, Ruby told the woman before she was led away to a waiting car. Jackie came over and stood next to Ruby as the vehicle transporting Danielle drove away. I'll tell you, Ruby, every so often we go through this. It's almost frightening letting people keep moving up here, but they always fall on their own sword. It never fails.
Well, you know, Kim would not agree with that fall on your own sword saying she likes to take matters another way.
Well, that is correct. She would not agree. That's because she likes to take the sword in her own hands.
Come on, Ruby, let's go and get something to eat.